Alright, we back on gaming, and you know what? I'm feeling pretty good today. I mean, I don't think anyone really gives a shit that I'm feeling good today, but, I mean, I'm feeling okay today, you know? I think this time that, you know, I do these videos every 2 weeks, it frees up so much more time for me now to actually do other things. Not to mention some other things that I'll talk about later, near the end of the video. But no, I'm in a good zone right now. I mean, I'm very refreshed, you know what I mean? But the things that we need to talk about today, I'm hoping that people will learn something from these situations. It's not just, ha, I stuck it to you, I got you. No, I'm really hoping that you learn from these situations, because if you don't learn from these situations, then history is doomed to repeat itself. And you let these assholes run around thinking that they run the place, and it just makes the community look bad. It does. So first, I want to start off with YouTube, because it seems like there's a lot of hysteria with YouTube. For those who don't know, YouTube won't put ads on, won't put ads on videos from channels with fewer than 10K views. Okay? Now, when this first happened, a lot of people freaked out. What do you mean, fewer than 10K views? It's actually lifetime views, overall views. All right? So you don't have to worry about but too much. And I think that people don't realize that when that was said, because they weren't very clear about it, and the media had made it very well known to put some fear-mongering out there. There was a number of people that were like, I'm not doing YouTube anymore. I'm done. Absolutely finished with it. It goes to show you, when things like this happen, you know, without getting all the information first, and how people react, they're not here for the community. They're here to make money. That's all they're here for. I can only imagine, I believe Jura said it the other day, he was like, I can only imagine if YouTube just stopped monetization altogether. How many people would just walk away? And it's interesting because for those that remember back in the day, all right, before anyone could just monetize, you had to earn your partnership first with YouTube. You know what I mean? Before you can even get the choice to monetize. So you had to earn it, as opposed to just giving it to everyone these days. You know what I mean? You actually had to earn it. So, and it wasn't just, oh, well, you had to get 10,000 views. No, these days, people can get 1,000 subscribers, you know, in a drop of a bucket, as we know that. That's not a big deal. But 10,000 views is not a lot. Lifetime views is not a lot. So I would just say people who were just wanting to, you know, they tried to upload a video and just hit them, you know, just hit with a quick ad or whatever. Those days are over for you unless you get 10,000 views, which I'm very happy to see. I am, because it's absolutely horrible. I said this before, how monetization, if you take it away, you start to see who's really there for the community and who was really there for money. And a lot of big YouTubers, what did they say? They was like, if they do this, I'm quitting. They don't care about you. They don't care about the community. They only care about themselves. And we'll talk about that in a bit, you know, about people caring about themselves. So, let's talk about people who really don't care about themselves, or at least are a little dysfunctional. And I say this because we see this a lot on YouTube as well. And it seems like he's fallen into this trap. So, let's talk about Jonathan McIntosh. Now, look, I understand that he's crazy, he's dysfunctional, like I say, dysfunctional. But this is a whole different type of dysfunctional we've seen as him as of late. This is what he's actually said on Twitter. Priorities. Try it. Just once, McIntosh. Can you do that? This is what I don't understand, how people can still be fans of this. I don't want to call him a lunatic, but he clearly has problems. You can't sit here and tell me that you're going to move simply because you can't afford what's going on. You know, your living expenses. You can't afford your means. You're probably spending more than than what you can afford, or whatever the case may be. But you have to move now because you refuse to get a full-time job, because your videos mean so much more, especially in this Trump era. Because Trump really gives a damn what you got to say, right? Look, I understand that people love, have passion for their videos. I understand they believe that they're doing the right thing. Maybe some of them are on this moral crusade or whatever. But you got to take care of yourself first. You can't be that fucking stupid to say, I'm not going to get a full-time job because videos. And then you admit the videos aren't paying enough. So here's the thing. Why don't you get a full-time job so you can have a stable living life And then, you know, on your free time from that full-time job, do the videos then. I mean, that's common sense, right? But this is Macintosh we're talking about, which he doesn't have common sense. And it seems like that he's fallen into this pit where a lot of YouTubers have fallen into. We've seen a number of YouTubers who have said, you know, I'm doing bad, and we see this with the Patreons and all this stuff. Give me money to keep doing this because I don't have another ways and means. You see other guys who've been doing this so long, they can't even, you know, get back into the workforce because of these type of things. And here's the thing as well I have to address, all right? Because when we're talking about these type of things, you should know, like I said, you always need to have backup plans. Plan A, B, C, D, all through Z. So if something goes wrong, you don't have to worry about it. You already have a contingency plan. Always. All right? You can't sit and rely on people on the internet, random people, to pretty much save you from what's going on. You can't do that. All right? You cannot rely on somebody to help you in your life that you don't know, especially if you're not hot or trendy. Because I said, trends come and go. All right? You can be hot one day, next day you're gone. That's it. It's over. You know what I mean? So, when you want to sit here and you're relying on people to give you money, and then the water starts, you know, the well starts to run dry, now you got to move because you didn't take care of yourself personally. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. You've fallen into the trap that YouTube is a lucrative business, you know, for everyone. And as you know, it's not for everyone. Not everyone can sit here and make millions and millions of dollars. Not everyone can do that. And we've seen this before, have we not? The guy who was doing Call of Duty videos. I forgot his name, but what happened? He said he was able to get a job, but didn't want to get a job. Same thing with Macintosh. Doesn't want to work full-time. He doesn't. It's a difference between not being able to, because you maybe have some type of disability or whatever, not being able to, as opposed to not wanting to. It's his choice not to work. All right? But mind you, the guy who was doing this with Call of Duty, he's got kids to feed, he's got a family to support, and he refuses to go out and get a job. Instead, he said, I just want you to donate to my Patreon, and I'll start making money once the next Call of Duty comes out. So you're telling me you're not going to take care of any type of, at this point, it is a welfare problem. And it's a child endangerment problem, too, if you're not taking care of your kids, simply because you want to wait for the next Call of Duty. So they got to wait all that time until the next Call of Duty come out so that you can try and make money instead of just going to get a job and supporting your family. And these are the type of people who are praised on YouTube, too. Okay? The dysfunction is absolutely, it's at an all-time high. And I'm hoping that you learn from this because why people always say, Event, he's so upset at people who try to make money online. He's so upset at people who do Patreons. He's so upset who do, GoFundMes and stuff like this. Because there's more to life than this. I don't know about you, but I was raised to not beg. Alright? That's how I was. Stand on my own 2 feet and get as many jobs as you need to support yourself if you need to do that. And I'll talk about that later as well, down the line, alright? At the end of the video. But you have to understand, you have to take care of yourself first before deciding to get on camera and say whatever you need to say or play whatever you need to play or whatever the case may be. I'm not relying on people who I don't know to keep my lights on and food in my stomach from month to month. I can't do that. No. I can't do that. I got to go out and get mine. I got to make sure that I do it. You know what I mean? So I know that it's done. I can't sit and wait. Well, I got $10 here, $20 there. I'm hoping I cover the spread, for the rest of the month, so I can have some lights on and keep doing this. I can't do that. I can't. I refuse to. So when people do that, I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't. And I'm not talking about like artists want to get their work out there. I get that. I'm talking like animators and stuff. They want to get their work out there. But you got to be kidding me if you think that those animators or whatever don't have another job. It doesn't pay. YouTube, you're paying for pennies. You are. So if Macintosh wants to go down this road, I'm gonna sit and laugh and have popcorn and just watch him just fail. Because it's going to get worse from here. If you're already at this point where you have to move and you're refusing to get a job simply because you want to keep doing YouTube videos, if it's not paying enough now, what the fuck makes you think it's going to pay even more later? I got to move and go to a different area where the rent is cheaper so that I can maintain a lifestyle. Well, if that's your lifestyle, well then you're aiming low. And you know what? That tells me I can see why that Anita got rid of your ass. I can see it. No ambition. That's what it is. And don't tell me there's ambition in videos like that when you're not taking care of yourself in real life. I don't want to hear it. Alright? Let's move on, shall we? We got some more community news. Okay? Atlus is cracking down on streamers spoiling games. Alright? What I'll do is I'll put that link in the info bar because they're letting you know what you can stream, what you can't stream, especially with Persona. Okay? They're letting you know that now, or they're going to shut you down. Alright? So, let's get into some really, really heartbreaking news. Bad news, heartbreaking news within the community, again. And I'm sure a lot of the community does not agree with this. They don't, alright? Man has been charged after a gamer has been shot by police. That's right. After a fake SWAT, one of those swatting calls while he was streaming. Cops came in, bust down the door, shot the gamer in the face, but it was rubber bullets. Shot the gamer in the face. And this is exactly what the gamer looks like. Now, to me, that is despicable. It's disgusting. However, like I said, I'm hoping that people learn stuff today. So I'm going to ask you a number of questions, Just ask yourself, was that worth it? Was it just a prank, bro? It's just a prank. Or do you get to a point where you hate a person so much who is streaming? Mind you, you really don't know these people. Alright, you don't know them, but you probably don't like their opinions on games. You don't like the way they play games, okay? But does that justify calling in a fake, a fake threat, a fake terrorist threat, that police kick down this guy's door and shoot him in the face? I don't understand when this became okay. Now, of course, we've seen this over the years. These things have happened, and we've talked about this before, and we've always said, we don't condone this. We don't. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of the majority community does not condone this, alright? But now someone has actually been shot. You know what I mean? And like I said, rubber bullets, okay. Rubber bullets still fucking hurt regardless, if you've never been shot with a rubber bullet. But you have to understand that now people are getting hurt. Most of these times we've seen SWATs, they haven't pulled the trigger. And the guys are just like, oh, what's going on? And they've been swatted, and people think it's funny, I got you back, or whatever. Have we become this petty now? That this is what we do, or we find this as a mild form of entertainment. Because people are getting hurt now. Physically hurt. I can only imagine if the cops didn't use, rubber bullets. Imagine if they took this, obviously they took it serious as a terrorist threat, but imagine if it wasn't regular bullets. That man would have lost his life over what? Some joke? Over a hoax, a prank, or apparently you just hate him so much. I hate to use the word hate. Hate. Hate is a very strong word when it comes to something like this. Like I said, people that said before, I hate a vet because of his opinion. So you hate over some opinions on games, or maybe opinions on sports. Hate? Really? If you hate people online, hate over some simple opinions on some games, I can only imagine in real life that, because you haven't really encountered hate in real life. It's such a strong word to use, but it's very petty to do that. It is. But let's move on. Like I said, hoping people learn some things today. And we have some more news, okay? So we're going to move on to the FGC. Got some good news, but then I have some examples to show you. Once again, I'm hoping that you learn from it. Okay? So, making a Samurai Showdown. That's right. Apparently Polygon, which I will not link you to, did an interview with the original Samurai Showdown creators. Of course, I went to a third-party link and, read up on it. So I will put that link in the info bar. Okay? Just to let you know. Also, in more news, Gundamn Verses developer is looking to expand with consoles, but also looking to get into esports. That's right, Gundamn Verses coming to esports. So, if you're good with Gundamn Verses, I would say, get ready. It's coming. You know it's coming. Okay? Now, also, King of Fighters. We need to have this talk. King of Fighters is coming out with, King of Fighters 14 is coming out with new costumes. Now, I'm a little bothered by this. And I say this because, look, the DLC pack you came out with not too long ago, with the 4 characters, you could have actually added the costumes to it. But you didn't. Okay. The characters came out. Great selection of characters. Cannot be upset. Vanessa, Yamazaki, Whip, they're just a number of great characters. And Rock Howard, of course. A number of great characters. However, priorities at this point is something that I feel as though needs to be done. I don't give a shit about costumes. I don't care. Alright? I'd rather you give us more characters. I would like to see Rugal come back. Or Krauser come back. And once again, I'm disappointed that we still haven't got Shingo. And I understand that people are like, you know what, we want a Shingo, but we're happy with Rock Howard because Rock has been so long for Rock Howard to be there. I get that. But I was looking forward to Shingo. You know what I mean? Especially because it's a goofball, but those critical Shingos they're just, and Touch of Death Shingo is crazy. But here's the thing that we had a conversation about not too long ago. Because when you're looking lab work and you're watching people work with these things, I've seen Touch of Death with Rock Howard. I've seen Touch of Death with Yamazaki. I'm trying to figure out, because I've seen it a lot as of late when it comes to these things. And if not Touch of Death with a lot of characters, if you're using your cancels the right way, you can take anywhere in a straight bar. 80, all you gotta do is get it confirmed. 85 to 95% of that bar absolutely gone if they're at max. Alright? At 5 max. And at that point, when you're fighting a character like that, because usually you get your 5 max at your anchor, usually. It could be even sooner than that, you know what I mean, your mid, but mostly your anchor. You can't make a mistake. You can't make a mistake. You make a mistake and they get that confirmed, you're screwed. You know what I mean? So, it almost reminds me of old school Touch of Death Shingo, but it seems to be happening with a lot of characters as of late. So you gotta be very careful when you're playing King of Fighters these days, and like I said, it's not one of those things where I've seen, we've talked about this on Twitter back and forth. People were complaining about King of Fighters, and first it was the netcode, and we know that's bullshit, because the netcode has been fine for a very long time. We have done a number of round robins in a number of weeks with multiple people, about 5 or 6 people, not one problem with netcode. I'm not trying to hear that people are still saying that the online is bad for King of Fighters. It's not, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, people are complaining that the game is too fast. It's not like Street Fighter V. Seriously? Seriously. Okay, that's what we're going on now. The game is too fast. So, you're going to tell me that you can't adapt to the speed. That's what you're telling me. You can't adapt. We're talking about people who would play Marvel and then went to Street Fighter, go back to Marvel, and you can't adapt to the speed of King of Fighters? Really? Okay. Okay. And then the third excuse, which is the funniest excuse I've heard. Alright? There are too many characters in King of Fighters. Y'all will come up with anything just to try and discredit this fucking game, won't you? Won't you? Like, come on. We're talking about a time where King of Fighters has always had teams, stacks of teams. As you know, teams of 3, so you get multiple characters across the board. When did too many characters become a bad thing? I mean, we just saw the complaints, if you looked, remember, well, Marvel 2, they had so many characters and everything. It's amazing to see when they can pick and choose. It's almost like cherry picking when you decide who has too many characters, when it's not enough characters, or what. Come on. Come on, stop. That's absolutely ridiculous. Look, if you don't like the game, you don't like the game, all right? But if you're thinking that, all these complaints that I'm seeing, if that's what you're saying, it almost tells me you just are bad at the game and that you should just get good. That's all it is, all right? In more news. And also, with the DLC costumes, just to let you know, DLC costumes for King of Fighters 14, I can't even really comment on it yet due to the fact that they haven't revealed a price point for it. Now, mind you, the Athena costume they came out with, the old school Athena costume, they gave that for free for a limited time. So, if they do that with these costumes, I don't have a problem with it, Not at all. Let's move on. Let's talk about Injustice 2. Injustice 2, for those that didn't see, not too long ago, Scarecrow trailer has been revealed. That's right. And I'm watching this trailer, and I'm thinking to myself, is it me, or is that Scarecrow plays like Hellfire Scorpion? Is that it? Is it Hellfire Scorpion? I believe it's Hellfire Scorpion. That's what it seems like he plays like. Maybe with a little mix of Aaron Black in it, maybe. And I only say that because of the, because I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'm wrong on that. But I just get this bad feeling, and yes, I say bad feeling that Scarecrow really is playing like Hellfire Scorpion, and a lot of Scorpion players are going to migrate right to Scarecrow because of it. I mean, we see the teleports, we see how it works, we see how he can get the stun going. It just feels like that. And with the chain pulling you in and all that, it really, and don't get me wrong, he can do different things with the chain as well. It just feels like that it's Hellfire Scorpion. You would have thought when they tried to do something like this, I would have thought that this would have been more of a Lobo thing. Because Lobo is known for using chains, you know what I mean? But, okay, whatever. I'm just, still, Injustice 2, it looks good, but I really have a problem with what I saw with Scarecrow. And I was really hoping, I had this talk not too long ago with a number of people about Scarecrow, and hopefully he was going to be legit in the threat. And it seems like he's kind of modeled off of Scorpion. So, like I said, by all means, if you've seen the trailer, I will put the trailer in the info bar for you, okay? And you can make up the decision yourself, okay? Just let me know. Also, we need to talk about Tekken. Because for those who don't know, a gamer has asked Harada to come to his house and play him in Tekken. And this is what Harada had said. I have to say, after seeing that tweet, I'm kind of for the guy. You know what I mean? To want to retweet that. Due to the fact that I put like this. I understand that Harada is doing this because it's good publicity. Tekken's getting 1 million, 1 million retweets. I come to his house, we'll put the cameras up. Good publicity. I get that. You know what I mean? I understand. The reason I'm for this is because this wasn't just some asshole who decided, hey, I'm going to call Harada out. Or one of these other guys, top tier guys, who just want more, shine. You know what I mean? They want to be next to with the celebrities and all. Or having guys who try to push the product a lot. I hate that. So this guy who asked Harada to play, he's maybe got like 48 followers or something like that. Like, he's somebody who's virtually an unknown. I hate to say that. He's the underdog, and he wants to play with Harada. So when seeing that, I was like, yeah, give the guy who nobody knows a chance. I'm for that. You know what I mean? So I was okay with that as far as I'm concerned. Now, see, if it came out and it was just like a big time player or a top tier player said some shit like that, I'd be like, fuck off. Fuck off. You know what I mean? But giving somebody who's virtually an unknown, a new guy, and who just wants to play, he likes the game, he likes to rock. Yeah, by all means, I'm for it. And with Tekken, I know we've talked about Tekken a lot, in the previous couple of weeks. And we've seen the controversy that happened with Tekken and Harada going back on his word about quitting if they ever did DLC. And I showed you all the proof in that, you know what I mean? But I have to say, even with all that going on, for what I've seen with Tekken 7 it's a great game. It's a quality game. Like I said, I'm a huge Tekken fan. Have been for a very long time. My main character, I've made no stranger. My main character is Jin. If I'm playing Tekken Tag, it's going to be Jin and Harang. They, team up. Hell, I even have a Tekken Tattoo. It was one of my first tattoos I got. I got a Tekken Tattoo. Jin Tattoo. The Devil Mark. So, it's one of those things where with Tekken, I've always been a huge fan of Tekken. I remember going into arcades and really learning, and the first time you've ever played up against an Eddie Gordo player, you get smoked. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? And you feel, even if it's a casual, because all they do is button mash, you have to learn that. You have to learn from it. And there's a difference, because I've played guys who really know how to play Eddie Gordo, and not just, I'm just going to keep doing this to keep it flow going, the flow chart going. No, they were really good with Eddie Gordo, and I would get smashed by those guys. You know what I mean? And then you play with those guys, and then when you finally, you learn how to beat them, any casual playing with Eddie Gordo doesn't stand a fucking chance. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, that was the biggest thing when it came to Tekken at the time. You know what I mean? Not to mention throwing guys off cliffs and them coming back. But whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, Tekken 7 does look great. It is quality. I am looking forward to it, but I am kind of disappointed with the DLC and all that type of stuff. Season pass, that type of stuff. Yeah, I know. But it does look beautiful. It does look great. I really don't have anything bad to say, but you notice when I talk about these type of things, I talk about the business aspect of it, not so much the gameplay, because the gameplay looks stellar. It looks stellar. It looks great. You know? So, yeah. But we need to move on to more fighting game news. And I just talked about people, you know, big-time players, or even trying to get hobnob with celebrities. E-League. Let's have this talk. For those who don't know, the E-League is getting ready to put on a celebrity showdown. Are you fucking serious? Look, I get Shaq being there because, as we know, Shaq has stock in this type of stuff now. So he's owner-wise, so we know that already. So Shaq, I understand. Eva Marie from wrestling? Are you serious? Are you serious? Just stop. Just stop already. And as you can see, Lupe, he's appeared. So, after taking all those L's, now he wants to come in here and do that. I guess this is why, he need to do something. They need to have their own celebrity wing because, being sponsored by evil geniuses and not doing shit, I guess you would have to, you'd have to start playing again and take L's. But then again, if you're playing against any of these people, Reggie Bush? Okay, so if you're playing against these people who pretty much don't really know Street Fighter, or it don't even have to be Street Fighter, it can be any other game. They're not sitting and practicing and hardcore playing these games. So I think if anyone out of these four people would have the leg up on this, it would be Lupe. I would think it would. You know what I mean? So I could see him winning in this situation. But what bothers me about this is that the E-League is so young in its, in its birth. And the reason I say this is because if you don't know how programming goes, and it goes with, TV and shows, you have to understand that when games, especially, I'll put the game show factor to it, all right? Game shows, they come up with a new game show. It's fresh, it's hot, it's trendy, and then after a time, it starts to go downhill. And then the execs say, so what can we do to get this show a revival, to get people to watch? We make a celebrity version of it. I mean, think about it. Every show you've seen pretty much has these. Especially, said, tons of game shows have their celebrity versions of them. Celebrity Apprentice, Celebrity Survivor. They got all kinds of them. You know what I mean? They got tons of them. So it goes to show you that they think if you use celebrities, people will tune in more. We've seen this time and time again. They are giving you the okie doke right now. That's what this is, and I hope you're learning from this. Because this is the Hollywood factor, all right? They're saying, hey, look, you guys, you had your chance with, your high-level players, and it only gave us so much. So now we're going to try to use celebrities. And if the celebrities, and put it like this, if the ratings are bigger for the celebrities than it is for the top-tier players, there's a problem. There's a problem. Personally, I will not be tuning into this. I can't wait to see the results, but I will not be tuning into this to give them that extra click or whatever. I'm not tuning in. It will be an absolute joke. I will wait till it's over and then, go into it and see what the ratings were and stuff like that. Because that is a problem. But I told y'all this before. I've been telling y'all for almost a year now how they're going to take over. They're going to. And you people called me all types of names just for telling you the truth. So, I guess we should get into that. A couple weeks ago, we talked about, the behavior of the FGC. And remember, I showed you that article from Kotaku that said that E-League they were stripping the soul out of the fighting game community. Remember that? I just want to show you this again real quick, so, just for a reference. And I said what? That article was bullshit. Did I not say that? Okay. So then afterwards, we saw what happened in E-League between Wolfcrone and K-Brad. We talked about that on camera, did we not? And how K-Brad got baited into it, which it was disrespectful. Once again, you were on a serious network. You have serious sponsors going on, and then you act like that, which means it's unacceptable, right? But remember, when I'm telling you all these things, people are calling me a bunch of names, you dirty Smash player and everything else, and I'm autistic, and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And it goes to show you that, actually, You people don't know what the fuck you're talking about due to the fact that you don't know anything about business. So, after that happened, when it came to, that interview between Wolfchrome and K-Bread, and he was like, oh, I don't give a fuck what he thinks and all that type of stuff. Well, they had a problem with that. The sponsors had a huge problem with that. So, let's look into that, shall we? Now, for those who cannot see that on the screen because it's probably too small, I will gladly read this for you. Are you ready? Let's go. We'd place TBS E-League pretty far towards professional, all right? Toward the professional, I'm sorry, and of the Street Fighter event spectrum. But despite all the white-collar facets of production, the world got a very clear view of the FGC's less refined side during the Wolfchrome K-Bread Showdown. It says, given these players' story past, both hype and less than professional, okay? Interactions were expected from moment groups were announced, all right? So they were expected at one point. No one really saw things coming quite as far as they did. However, as both K-Bread and Wolfchrome began using disrespectful language in the post-match interview, with the latter going as far as using an F-bomb, and we're going to talk about that in a bit, okay? Michael Martin speaks with Yahoo Esports producer, all right, in the latest episode of I Got Next, asking if this unrefined, less classy, all right, atmosphere is going too far and ultimately threatening Street Fighter V's presence in the esports realm. Okay? When we bring this level of negativity to the spotlight, and this is a quote from him, all right? Level of negativity to the spotlight, you're messing with your money. Wait a minute. Let's just stop right there. How many times did I tell you that this is about money? How many times did I tell you that? But no, the FGC, we ain't esports, this is how we act. Stop, fam. I told you before, all right? When you have companies who are putting on these tournaments, you think it's just for the good of their heart? You think they're just doing it just for the shit of it? No, it's money. And you messing with their money when you act up. That's what you're doing, okay? You're hurting them. I'll explain more right after this, okay? So it says, messing with your money. We didn't need to take it there, all right? It says, it's not mainly about finances for the Yahoo producer, as he's more concerned that the FGC may be setting itself up to miss out on the new heights of esports that could enable us to reach if we stay on this course. Now, for years and years and fucking years, I have told you, EFGC, you might as well because it's esports now, FGC, that you keep handicapping yourself with this type of attitude. I've told you this. And every time I say this, there's always somebody who gets mad at me for pretty much telling the truth. I understand sometimes you can't tell the truth. It's amazing how you want people to be honest with you, but then when you actually get the truth and it's right in your fucking face, you still deny it. This is a business, all right? If you, like I said before, if you care about these players so much, K-Brad or whoever you like, why wouldn't you want to see them get more money to live more comfortably so that they can keep doing this? That's a question. You're going to tell me that it's really a big deal if people want to see more maturity out of players and just play the game? Is that what you're telling me? Because if you act more maturely, guess what? Other opportunities, they arrive. That's what happens. They open up for you, which gets you to bigger venues. They get you to bigger money. And it's not just in UGC Price saying, well, we got Evo and it's no. Evo is a drop in the bucket when it comes to money compared to what these huge companies can offer you. When you got NBA teams throwing millions upon millions upon millions of dollars at esports teams, when you got huge stations like TBS throwing tons of money, dump trucks of money to produce this type of stuff, what makes you think that Evo is even close to that? Huh? I understand you love Evo, and you think it's the final destination for all fighting games, blah, 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 blah. But they're talking about money. And I'm telling you now, I told you the takeover was coming. I told you, they're going to take this shit, they're going to change it, and you have to adapt. But you don't want to adapt, because you want to act like a bunch of fucking idiots. And we're going to talk about that right now. Because the comments of that, of what was being said about that, are absolutely disrespectful. Alright, so let's look at some of them. I need to break this down post by post just to show you how ignorant some of these people are, or how much they've bought into the bullshit. Okay? First one, trying to take away what makes the FGC the FGC. No. You're absolutely wrong. Acting a fool, acting like you got no home training, has nothing to do with the FGC. It is not a standard in the FGC. It's always been extra, and it's always looked down. But leave it to people like you who are only worried about pop-offs and say, hey, this was entertaining. It's bullshit, all right? That has nothing to do with the FGC. You can go back to the 90s, 80s, 90s, when people were playing next to each other in the arcades. None of this shit happened. None of this shit happened. You were getting great competitive matches. None of this shit happened. So don't tell me it's what makes the FGC. It doesn't. It's bullshit. And for you to believe in that tells me you don't have the experience of being in this community that long. And you just bought into whatever the fuck you're seeing on YouTube. That's what it is, okay? But there's more. The next one. It says, a fine is a fine. What's that got to do with hurting the brand? It hurts the brand to act this way due to the fact that the money that is involved. If people see that these players are acting vulgar over video games, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, okay, nobody's going to want to take the gamble on you anymore. That's what it comes down to. The outside world doesn't care about your pop-offs. Reality, they don't care about you in general. You already see how much of an uphill battle you have doing these things on this station. Why would you keep handicapping yourself? There's more. It says, are stadiums getting empty because someone dropped the F-bomb? Okay. Obviously, again, you don't know how business works. If you were on TV and people are dropping the F-bomb, the FCC will come along and say, no, we can't have that happen. And because that happened, guess what? TBS or whoever, all those spots, they got to pay a fine. They have to pay a fine because someone acted a fool. So because Wolf Chrome couldn't hold his mouth and say, I don't give a fuck. Because that right there, all right? Now they got to pay a fine for that. Because you can't have that on TV. All right? That's what it is. So now it's more. It says, of course saying the wrong thing can ruin a career. I agree. It says, I already said as long as the people aren't saying anything offensive, what's the problem? What you deem offensive and what the rules go with companies when they're putting these contracts together are completely different. So your opinion on what's offensive and what's not offensive is irrelevant. Okay? That's what it comes down to. You have to start looking at this. Like I keep trying to tell y'all that when these companies come in, you have to play the game. All right? You have to play ball and understand. You have to stay 10 steps ahead of these guys. This is the things that they're going to do. If football players or whatever, they drop the F-bomb, people are going to try and justify it and say, well, that's just football, but guess what? They're not showing that mic'd up. No, because they can get a fine for that. Hell, players get fined just for criticizing officials without even using any curse words. Are you going to say, that's what, 25 right there, 25,000? So yeah, no. You have to understand that this is the way that these companies are building this. And I tried to warn you about this. I'm once again hoping that people are learning. But the worst of the worst comments come out, and you know what? It just goes to show you this is exactly how people feel these days. Stop. Just stop. That is embarrassing as shit. And I really want to, once again, read this and address it. Okay? Let's just do that because you can tell this is some guy who's just sitting, like I said, behind a screen name and is a fucking coward. So let's get into this, alright? These are fighting games. We aren't your little cousin's League of Legends skinny nerd esports wannabe player or your pimple-faced K-pop listening StarCraft gamer. We're going to stop right there. Okay? This is fighting games. Yeah, and you're just hitting buttons. That's all you're doing. Okay? You want to mention the League of Legends, and you want to mention StarCraft. Two types of games that have generated tons and tons more money than the fighting game community. Okay? Because mind you, that is the end goal. Alright? Pots. These pots that you're having, that's what these players are playing for. Once again, if you look at the stats when it comes to how much League of Legends players, when they're playing for these pots, make, and Dota, and and even StarCraft, it's leagues ahead of what the FGC is making. And if you want these people, these players that you love so much, to make more, then you have to act accordingly. That's what it comes down to, alright? But the fact that you would just insult those people as if it makes you look like some type of badass, that doesn't help your situation any, okay? Just because you call them a bunch of names, guess what? They still getting a lot more money. You're a bunch of pimple-faced dorks. Yeah, well, you can tell it to my bank account. You understand that, right? So it doesn't help you any. But the second part makes it even worse, okay? We are gritty and rude, and for good reason. We kick ass. Number one, okay? You're not gritty. You are rude for no fucking reason. It's not for good reason. It's for no fucking reason. Alright? And you kick ass. Stop trying to be a fucking rebel simply because you push some buttons on a video game. Get the fuck out of here with that old bullshit. Alright? This is your standard internet fucking coward talking this shit. And I put it like this. Half of me thought that this was just trolling, but when other people saw it, they was like, no, this is fucking legit. This is how people are acting. And some of you even called for this person to be doxxed. Because you say, well, he wants to act this tough. Let's see what he really looks like. I don't agree with the doxing. I don't. But you have to understand, people like this are full of shit. And I say this due to the fact that if you went right now, if you go to the corner store, you play a Street Fighter game, alright? Because there's still corner stores around there who have arcade units in there. Go ahead and play a Street Fighter game in that corner store with all those dudes in there. And go ahead and act rude and act brash and act that. Guess what? You're going to be on your back. That's what's going to happen to you. You're going to get fucked up. So don't give me this old bullshit that this is who we are and it's for good reason. There's no good reason to act rude simply because you're playing a fucking video game. No reason. You're choosing to act that way because of the shit that you see online. Oh my god, he did this. Oh, they chest bump. Oh, he's in his face. Oh, that means we can act like a bunch of fucking idiots. Just because you're online, again, doesn't give you a free pass to act like an idiot. And this is what we have these days. This is how people act. And as far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely ridiculous that we see these type of things. It really is. Because as far as I'm concerned, you should know better than this. But since we're going to talk about the behavior of the FGC, let's look what happened not too long ago at a Smash tournament. So, about that whole bullying thing, because remember, y'all tried to say it was a myth. Bullying doesn't happen. And what did I say before? I said all these top players can come out and talk about certain things. Like I said, because, the checks are there. And they don't want to ruffle the feathers of the company. But they want to be ambassadors. But they don't want to talk about the problems in the community. Because, like they said before, well, if it's not happening to me, I don't care. We got a guy right here telling you that people were yelling at him. And he's trying to play a game. And they're yelling at him. You are nothing without a specific character, and just being yelled at, and to the point where he's almost crying. He's shaking. He's bringing back bad past of being bullying and being bullied in real life. What does that tell you? And this is over Smash. What does this tell you? All right. And I say this due to the fact that once again, what you are seeing on these videos when they're acting up and popping off, it's fake. It's absolutely fake. You are cheering on fakeness. And once again, majority of people, like I said, they've been bullied. They don't want to get into that situation anymore. You know what I mean? I'm a little 50-50 on this. I'm going to explain too as well, okay? So you have to understand, what you're seeing are guys, and I hate to use this word, are fucking nerds acting like they're badasses. But we talked about this before. You put a real G in there with them, they're going to be like, we ain't saying shit to him. Or, and of course, one of you people would say again, well, we don't need that in our community. So it's okay for you to act up and say what the fuck you want and act like a badass, but when it comes to walking the walk, you know where to be found. When it comes to a serious issue, you know where to be found. But if I talk about pop-offs or I don't like said game, here you come with your fucking armies. If the company comes out and says, we're going to fuck you over in this game, we don't care what you think, you're just going to deal with it, you won't get your armies together for that, will you? No. I'm seeing a lot of coward shit in this community. But it gets worse. I just want you to hear more, or read more, what this guy is saying. So some guy is literally right behind him when he's playing, violating his personal space. We've talked about violating personal space before, because that's where you get people saying, well, if you get in my face like that, I'm going to punch you. You're violating their personal space just to yell in his ear the entire fucking time how bad he is while he's playing his set. Alright, first off, I need to know where the tournament organizers are for this. Alright, there's no security or anything. What the fuck is going on? Back him up a couple feet so that he can play his fucking game. You know what I mean? But, this happened. And as you can see, what he's saying is, he shouldn't be in damn near tears trying to play the game. Now, half of me, you've already heard half of what I think about this, and say, this is absolutely wrong. Tournament organizers should be held more accountable. For what we're hearing in the story, people did start apologizing because the crowd got into it, started yelling at them, like almost in unison about it. But they apologized for it. But that's not enough. It's not enough. Because the damage is already done. You don't know how to act and you shouldn't be taking your ass anywhere. Again, home training, where is it at? I'm trying to figure this out. Maturity, where is it at? Like I said, that's my other half. Now here's the other half of the situation, I feel. Man up. Man the fuck up. And I say this due to the fact that you have to understand that since these players want to be considered as athletes, you're going to get the same fucking treatment as athletes. Look, when you got basketball players trying to knock down free throws, what happens? You got people heckling the shit out of them. They're holding up signs. They're talking about their mom. Anything they will say to get them to miss that free throw. Or in football, to miss that field goal. Or whatever the case may be. Right? I mean, we've seen quarterbacks in football where the crowd is so damn loud and heckling him that he's got to do like this because he's got to hear the mic inside of his helmet. You have to understand, if you want to be pushed on this level, okay, that's going to happen. Like I said, I'm a 50-50 on this because the fighting game community it shouldn't be that way. You know what I mean? You should be more respectful, more humble, let them play their games. And, it is what it is, good game or whatever. People are going to get salty, I get that. But when you have a guy who's not even in the fucking equation, pretty much pulling a Happy Gilmore, as soon as he's getting ready to play, jackass, like, it's stupid. It's fucking stupid. And as far as I'm concerned, something should have been done about it. If y'all want high-level play and someone is distracting them, you can't say always, well, it's got to be mental. You got, nerves of steel and everything. Not everyone is built for that. These are gamers. These are not people who have been pressed. A lot of them not been pressed and put in hard times or situations. Again, this is why I say you see these people who are, like I said, nerds who have probably been bullied in real life, and they come online and they do this shit. And then when you get in the confines, in your little bubble, when you're all face to face, you feel as though you can act this way because you know if you're outside those lines, something bad's going to happen. It's pathetic this happened. And I know some people are going to say, well, it is the Smash community. They went too far. Fuck the Smash community. That's not the point. It doesn't matter what sub-community did it. Alright? We see this behavior time and time again. We do. And if we go by the other guy, well, that's just who we are for good reason because we rude, because we kick ass. I don't want to hear that shit. If you think that you're such a fucking hard ass, you would not be playing fighting games. You would be fighting in real life. I don't want to hear that shit. Alright? Like I said, to me, it's disrespectful. But hey, there's going to be people who defend this shit. You know there's going to be people who defend it. As you can see in those comments, they were trying to defend this shit. You're stripping the soul out of all of it. No, they're trying to take what's ours. They're trying to make it something we're not. Have these people played in this community before 2005? I'm just wondering. It seems like they're not. It seems like they're kids who think that this is how it's supposed to be. Yeah, you can be verbal when you're playing, playing against an opponent. Yeah, we're always verbal when playing against opponents. But it's in a joking manner or whatever. I don't give a shit if you know what I mean? If you're so upset. Yeah, you won. Okay, good for you. Good game. Who gives a fuck? I'm going to go and play another game. Or play again. Or we're going to rematch. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Even if it's for high competition. Okay, I lost, but at least I got here. Obviously, I got caught with some shit. I got more to learn. Good game. Now, if the other guys want to act like a fucking dick, well then fuck you. What do you want to do about it? Because you're going, once you start acting like that, you're going beyond the game. You're feeling yourself way too much simply because you did some tech on a game. I told y'all before, there are no Hadoukens in real life. That shit cannot save you. People really need to check themselves. And I feel as though organizers and sponsors, and I'm glad they took this move, where it was like, hey, we're not putting up with this. And if this keeps happening, it's only going to hurt them. But I've been telling you this for years. When I say it, I'm everything in the book. I'm not even part of the FGC now. Oh my God. But like I said, hope that you learned something today. Like I said, this is not I got you. It's not about that. Look at the situation for what it is. Seriously. I understand, we talked about this before. Some of you don't want to grow up. I get it. You're watching grown men act like kids because kids are watching. They think that's the way things are supposed to be. That's what's cool. It's stupid. You're acting like something you're not. Bottom line. And if you have to act like something you're not just to either play a game or to get somebody to watch a game, then it tells me how fake you are. And I don't respect you. That's simple. That's simple. Anyways, let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about the fighting game of the week, which is actually pretty funny. We're going really old school with this one. For those who don't remember, let's talk about Battle K-Road. There's one thing I will say that I do miss in fighting games, when it comes to this type of stuff. And regardless of the cheesy Terminator knockoffs, I will say that the hard knockdown and stopping in the middle of a match is actually pretty brilliant. And I say this due to the fact that for those who have never been to real tournaments, okay, when it comes to real tournaments, especially martial arts tournaments, when they fight for points, they point fight, if you get a hard knockdown, they will stop and reset. They will. All right? Even if you get knocked down in boxing, as you know, they stop and give you an 8 count, stand an 8 count. It's one of those things where we don't see that a lot as of late. So in these games these days, they're just fighting, they're doing these vicious moves, they get knocked down, but, they reset everything. It's not one of those things where, it actually stops and says, wait a minute, stop, okay? We're going to get you back to, technically it would be to your, opposite corners, fight again. You know what I mean? And I think that's interesting because that's more realistic than, of course, the actual game that you have. But, of course, these games are built off of fantasy, so it's understandable that, that they go the way they do. I mean, the only games that you can see now fighting-wise that don't do that, because in their rules, is UFC. But anyone who remember UFC back in the day when in the 90s when UFC was really popular, they really didn't have any rules. There was guys who would literally stick their hands down the other guy's junk and grab and twist their balls. So, I mean, you can't really go by UFC all the time when it came to that. As you see, they had a lot of, I'm going to say, if you go back and you look at the history of UFC, the way they fought, they had to clean up the sport a lot, okay? They did. But when it comes to things like this, standard type of tournaments, and like I said, in point fighting and martial arts, yeah, this was a thing. If you hit a person too hard and they fell, you had to stop. You had to. There was no, I'm going to hover over them and wait and start, like, if you look like Mortal Kombat, you knock someone down and you're still going to combo, so by the time they get back up, they have to guard because you're in that combo already. No, it wasn't like that. Hard knockdown, reset, start over again. And I think that type of realism is missed these days. I really feel it is. But, hey, what can you do, right? Games have evolved, so I don't think that they're going to even revisit that type of thing. And let me say now, no, I don't think this game needs a remake. I don't think it does. Because, like I said, the characters are hokey. It's pretty much a joke. Certain characters, especially the Muay Thai fighter, if you're looking at it from a style point of view, when he puts his leg up to block, he puts his hand down like this, which makes no sense, because when you're Muay Thai, you put your leg up, to take a kick, you still have your hands up, so you guard your face, but he will put his leg up and put his hand down like this, meaning he's wide open to get punched here. It's really interesting when you look at things, when you look at the way designers decided to do their research, because you have to understand, I don't think a lot of people realize this, alright? When these people are doing these animations, and they're doing these stances, and they're doing this fighting stuff, and yes, it is fantasy, but you have to understand, when you get to a technical aspect, you still have to do your research on how people fight. You have to understand that, okay? Within your fantastic moves and all that type of stuff. If you're using a Taekwondo fighter, he's got to fight like a Taekwondo fighter, which means you need to do your research on Taekwondo to give it some type of authenticity. That's what happens in video games. You see that in Tekken. Like I said, there's a number of things, and like I said, me and Rock have had this talk about Joe Higashi in King of Fighters 14 on how he's watered down and how it makes no sense as a Muay Thai fighter the way he fights. Technically, it's bad, it's wrong, and they changed that compared to 13 because he rarely has any leg kicks now, and you should know Muay Thai fighters love to kick low, leg kicks, everything. When you're going in a combo with Joe, and then you go into max mode in the middle and you keep going, everything's high. Everything's high. High kick, high kick, high kick, high kick. And if you try to pull back, you can whiff. It's one of those things where you have to pay attention to technical detail when it comes to this type of stuff, when it comes to actual fighting. And I think a lot of people who don't know that kind of overlook that type of thing. But when I see it and I analyze it, I'm like, ooh, that's just bad. That's bad, on so many levels. You leave a big hole open so that you can get hit. And it's not, the big hole open to get hit is not, oh, someone did something and I can punish them. No, I'm talking about in a real fighting aspect. That guy has his fucking hand down trying to block a kick. Guess what? Fine. If someone was smart, you go low to block the kick and you go right into the Superman punch. He can't stop it. You know what I mean? Because his arm is down this way. So there was a lot of problems with the game, of course, with K-Fighting Road that I realized when watching the video. Because you have to go back, and look at these type of things. But yeah, the game does not need a remake. And I feel as though a lot of fighting games have this problem as well when it comes to the way people defend, like when they're blocking and, especially with hitboxes, when you see certain things that should be, a connect, a confirm, and it's not. Yeah, so I think when we get into these type of discussions about that type of stuff, I think people tend to miss those things when I'm talking. So when they're trying to defend, I'm just like, you don't get what I'm saying. You don't understand. You know what I mean? If a person is whiffing, they're throwing a low kick, or a sweep almost, and it's going through the foot, that's a problem. All right? It's a problem. And they say, well, the hitbox isn't right there. It needs to be higher, or you need to do a heavier kick. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But, anyways, let's move on. Let's move past the FGC for today, and let's talk about other games. Still on the fighting, circuit, I guess you can call this it. Streets of Rage. That's right. Now, not too long ago, as you know, I talked about it, a game that's come out that says it's going to be the Streets of Rage killer, right? Well, we have some news from Streets of Rage, actual Streets of Rage. They are adding Hulk Hogan. That's right, brother. Hulk Hogan to Streets of Rage. That's right. Also, in some more news, let's talk about companies, shall we? Microsoft launches Xbox Academy. Now, it's free Xbox and PC game development for schools. That's right. They're having classes for this type of stuff. That's right. So if you're interested, I guess as times have gone on, game development is starting to get bigger now, so now they're offering it. I mean, this is a good thing, right? For anyone who is an aspiring game designer. Also, in more news, which is, I don't know how you're going to feel about this. Some people are probably mad. Some people are like, Microsoft ends Vista support. That's right, Vita support, yeah. They're ending Vista support. So, go say, and you know what? I'm not very happy with Windows 10. And you're probably going to say, why, man? Why are you not happy with Windows 10? Because, I've seen Windows 10. The interface is fine. I don't have a problem with any of that type of stuff. But the fact that Windows Movie, the Windows Movie doesn't work, really. They pretty much phased it out. MP4s is just like, no, we're not dealing with that today. That's my biggest problem with it. No, we're not dealing with MP4s. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like MP4 trying to convert it into Windows Movie video. Was it Maker or Magic or Video, whatever? Because as you know, people who convert MP4 to Windows Movie, you'll still get the same quality, but the number of memory that it takes up is actually less. You know what I mean? So you're still getting the same thing. But Microsoft's like, nope, not doing it. On Windows 10, not doing it. Now, if there's a workaround I haven't seen, then please let me know. Please let me know. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty disappointed with that. And more news, alright? Let's go. Diablo 3. That's right, for those who don't know, Necromancer closed beta has begun. And people are giving some rave reviews and saying, Necromancer got a bone to pick with people. So, we'll see what happens with that. Also, more news, 10 classic PC games that you can download for free. I will put the link in the info bar if you are interested, okay? Also, in more, I guess because I'm going back into old school stuff, I guess we can talk about this. 24-year-old, never released NES game, Mystery World, is now available for free as well. That's right, it's now available for free. You gotta love that. Also, in more news, because we need to talk about this, alright? Sequence Break, because we're going old school. For those who don't know Sequence Break, it is a horror movie that is coming out, right? And it's based off of a haunted arcade machine. That's right. So you're probably, and the article talks about how, it's more along the lines of Videodrome and stuff like that. But hey, I mean, for those who have not seen this poster, let's check it out real quick. Now, I am willing to give the movie a chance, but you have to remember that there's been a number of movies, especially as of late, that have tried to use that horror aspect when it comes to video games. And they didn't pan out too well. But I am willing to give it a chance to see what happens, But let's move on, shall we? Darksiders, that's right. Darksiders Remastered isn't being canceled for the Wii U. That's right, and it's coming May 23rd. So, I'll put it like this. Even though it's Darksiders, and I'm sure people have other copies of it. But if you don't have Darksiders, I would say, by all means, please, if you have a Wii U, you want games for your Wii U. I mean, your last one was what? Zelda? I would say, get Darksiders and see what happens. I mean, let's be honest here. I still play my Wii U for a number of games, mostly Monster Hunter and Xenoblade Chronicles, because the online, come on, the online, people. Get online and play Xenoblade Chronicles. But, yeah. But let's move on. CD Projekt RED, we need to talk about this. Tries to trademark the word Cyberpunk. No. No. Don't trademark side. No. No. Look. I understand that this sent the internet upside down when they tried to trademark this, because we've seen this in the past where companies have tried to take common names or common phrases or common words and try to trademark them, and it has never worked. CD Projekt RED wants to let you know that regardless if they trademark Cyberpunk or not, that anyone will still be able to use it. Now, of course, that's if you want to go on their word. You know what I mean? If you want to. But hey, I put it like this. I don't think it should happen, personally. Just stay away from it altogether. You know what I mean? Stay away from it. Let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about some bad stuff that's going on, alright? Call of Duty. That's right, Call of Duty. Call of Duty mobile game is being made by a Candy Crush developer. Why would you, Activision just want more money, more money, more money? And speaking of more money, an 11-year-old accidentally spends $7,500 on microtransactions on dad's credit card. What have we learned? Do not tie your credit card to your mobile phone. Don't do this. Don't do it. And of course, the kid's only 11 years old, so I don't know, we don't know where the brain is at 11 years old with this child, because some are more advanced than others, Some could say, okay, I know what's going on here, and I know not to buy that stuff. And then you have other kids that are like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I want this, and this. You know what I mean? So, we just don't know. But that is a bad thing. Also, in more money news, GameStop reveals massive security breach, and credit card data may be at risk. Come on, man. GameStop, look, I understand that you're having problems and you're getting ready to shut down stores and all this. It's like, it just keeps getting worse for you. But a data breach of that magnitude and credit card information, maybe, man. I mean, who really shops at GameStop these days anyway? But I sure as hell would. I would not go that route. The fact that it was breached, and it goes to show you that no matter if it's a site that's supposed to be secure and they know everything, they're only up and up, or if it's a network that you're paying for, they can be breached. They can be breached. There's not one network, or one site, one network that really can't be breached if people try hard enough. So, it's crazy. And in some more news, I see some people hype about this, but we'll talk about it. Marvel Heroes Omega is coming to consoles this spring. Now, for those who don't know what this is, of course it's like your Marvel Ultimate Alliance or whatever, but this one is a console port from Marvel Heroes 2016. And remember, Marvel Heroes 2016, a lot of people were pissed off at that game because it needed a lot of fixes and they didn't get it, alright, for the PC. So I don't know if this console port is going to get the fixes it needs, but of course it's going to give you characters, and you know how it is. Like, the biggest thing they were talking about was, well, you can play as the X-Men. You can play as the X-Men as any other ones. So what's the problem? Hell, if I want to play as the X-Men, I just play the X-Men games that are just like it. For the PS2. I still got a PS2, I can play that. Or you can just probably find one on PC. Just saying. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. But apparently they, kind of HD'd it up. They cleaned it up a bit, so we'll see what happens. Bayonetta. Gotta talk about Bayo. Gotta talk about Bay. Alright? Hit Steam. That's right. Now, look. We've seen a number of things since Bayonetta has hit Steam. And we're seeing a lot of reporters who are coming out and saying, well, Platinum Games said, they'll put more games on, on Steam, if you want. But that's only half of the story. What people aren't reporting is that Sega came out and said, just relax, we're going to have a lot more to come when it comes to coming to Steam. So, okay, you may get Vanquish, you may get other stuff from Platinum, but it's not the only thing that you're getting. Sega is thinking bigger. And I think what's going to happen is, I think Sega's biggest gun, to be honest, they're going to drop Shenmue on you. I think they're going to drop Shenmue on Steam. Like HD. I think they're going to drop it on them. It's just going to be a bomb and everyone's going to go nuts. So, we shall see. You know what I mean? We'll see. Also, more Sega news. Interesting thing, this is also EA, their bullshit. Peter Moore, alright, apparently tells Sonic creator to fuck off. That's right, apparently he was, at the time that he loved Sega, and he was in a meeting with Sega, apparently he pissed off the Sonic creator because they did a poll with fans to see how Sega feels. You know, how they feel about Sega. Sorry. How they feel about Sega. And what people were saying about Sega was, you know, hey, you know, they're like your grandfather. You kind of forget what they were good about and stuff like that. And apparently when they saw this stuff, because it was subtitled in Japanese, Sonic creator got so mad and accused Peter Moore, got in his face, and accused him of doctoring it. Because how would they say this about Sega? We're a great company, blah, 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 blah. This is before the downfall. You know what I mean? And Peter Moore told him, fuck off. Fuck off. You have to understand, Peter Moore, while Peter Moore I feel is right in this situation, he is, for trying to warn them what was going on before Sega really had a bad lapse. When a guy is that passionate, and a guy is, you gotta think, he's poured his life into these type of creations, and he gets in your face, and he says, you doctored this, blah, blah, blah. Now, while Peter Moore, I understand Peter Moore is saying, it was very disrespectful that he would think I would doctor something like that, but you have to understand, he is, right now, he is at a level that he is not using logic. He's not. And for you to just be like, no, fuck off, fuck off. No, you talk him down. That's what you do. Alright? I understand he's in your face, once again, violating personal space. But you gotta talk him down. You talk him off the ledge. That's what you do. And that was your chance to do that, and you didn't do that. And that was the problem. The translator was like, well, there's really no Japanese, you know, words for fuck off. He was like, no, he gets what I'm saying. Fuck off. That's not the way to go about it. It's not. If you're in a business meeting and someone gets heated and there's a temper, there has to be an opposite to that. And if both people, if one's just like, I don't give a fuck off, and the other person's like, how dare you say that, you're solving nothing. Talk them off the ledge, calm them down, and explain to him what's going on. Yes, you can be hurt. You can easily say, look, what you're saying that I doctored this is pretty hurtful, because why would you think I do that? I love this company, but this is what people are saying about you. That's how you go about it. But let's have a seat, and let's try and figure this out on how to get these people back on our side. That's how you talk to them. Not, fuck off. Both people are in the wrong. Okay? Let's move on. Batman. That's right. Arkham Insurgency leaks. Now, we don't really know much about this Batman, but apparently it's going to be a sequel, for what we're hearing, a sequel to Arkham Knight. I'm sorry. Is it Arkham Knight? No. Arkham Origins, is it? No. No, it's the company who did Arkham Origins, but something like that. But, we don't know what to expect at this point. It's WB Montreal, and like I said, they did Origins. They fucked up Origins, and as we know, Origins still doesn't have a fix, and yet they're being given the next Batman title. Are people really going to buy this? Are they? I mean, learn from the past. This development team did a really bad job last time, and now they're getting it again. I don't know. Also, good news. Some good news. Nier Automata. That's right. Hits 1 million, the 1 million milestone. That's right. And Yoko Taro thanks fans. That's right. But he's not the only person thanking fans. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Fire Pro Wrestling. That's right. Fire Pro Wrestling, not out yet. Soon it'll be out in the summer. But already, they are thanking fans for the support. Because as you know, it's been a very long time since we've had a Fire Pro Wrestling game. So people are hyped, and the developers, they took the time out, each and every one of them, to say thank you to you fans. Each and one of those, every one of those developers said thank you and had something nice to say about the fans, and they're happy that they have support. I think if anything, we need to see that more often. We see more developers get upset because of the fact of the backlash that they get, as opposed to, hey, look, yes, we're having problems. Yes, you're being critical of our work. Yes, we see what you're talking about, and we see that, and we'll fix it, along the way, even though it should have been fixed to begin with. But thank you for being so passionate. Thank you for being so supportive. Thank you for speaking your opinion on this situation. And we don't see that a lot these days. We don't. We just see a number of developers that are just like, look, you don't like my work, fuck off. You know what I mean? And that's not the way to go about things. It's just not. And that's the difference. Like I said, if you're not in the business, you can say some shit like that. You know what I mean? You don't like this, fuck off. You know what I mean? But when you're in the business, you have to be able to take that criticism. You should be primed to take the criticism anyway. But to take that criticism and still be professional about it. I don't know. I think it's wrong. But this is a beautiful thing to see, you know. There are developers out there who say, look, our game's not even out yet, and we're seeing, you know, how much support we have. Or Yoko Taro, look, the game came out, I did not expect this, and everyone loves the game, and people are saying it's a masterpiece. Thank you so much. It goes to show you that with hard work, and I'm talking to game developers at this point, with hard work and passion, the community, if they see that and you put out a quality product, they'll love you for it. They will. But when you put out something like No Man's Sky, and people are mad, and you're just like, whatever, and you still get awards for some fucking reason, I don't know why, but at the entire time, you got media saying, you're entitled. It's bullshit. You can't sit here and tell me that, you know, the community doesn't give its credit when it's due. You can't sit here and tell me that. Let's move on, shall we? Yakuza fans. I know Yakuza 0 came out not too long ago, and everyone is loving Yakuza 0. However, Yakuza Kiwami is coming out soon. That's right. And Steelbook Edition, and it's going for $30 on Amazon. The Steelbook Edition. You whether get the regular edition or Steelbook Edition, $30 flat. I'll put the link in the info bar if you are interested, okay? Also, in more news, Dark Souls 3, that's right, is getting a complete edition. Now, I told you I was going to get Dark Souls 3. Last week, I was this close from buying it. And then this news came out. I was like, oh, I might as well wait. Now, of course, it will price at, I believe, $49.99 instead of what you can get Dark Souls 3 now for, what, $30? $49.99, but it comes with all the DLC with it. It's a complete edition. So, as far as I'm concerned, I would just wait and just spend the money for the complete edition. That's what I would do. That's what I'm going to do. You know? Also, for those who don't know, Neo is also getting some new DLC soon. It looks really good. But at this point, I don't have Neo just yet. I love the demo. I played it so much. Loved it so much. But I might as well just wait for a complete edition as well. I might as well. With all these other games, Nier Automata, Gravity Rush 2, Tokaiden, Dark Souls 3 coming with a complete edition, Yakuza 0, there's so many games to name. And once again, another game getting ready to come out. Uncharted, The Lost Legacy will be coming out this summer. With all these games coming out, and it is lining up, and they're great games, as you know, they're quality games, of course, some of them will have to be put on the backlog, you know? But, as you know, if you wait in the backlog, it gets cheaper, and then those editions come out, so I get the best of both worlds. And as much as I love Neo, because I was, like I said, again, another game I was this close from buying, because I love the demo so much. But knowing that once I found out there was a lot of DLC that was going to come out for it, I was like, maybe I should hold off. You know what I mean? Tokaiden has DLC. And I'm just like, really? Does it really need to be done? Like, yeah, whatever. But, like I said, I'm gonna sit and wait and see what happens. But that's all the news I have for today. Some good news, some good releases coming out. Hopefully people are having their fun and playing games as opposed to acting like a dick on the internet. I will say in these previous 2 weeks, I have seen so many people on Twitter arguing about fucking video games instead of playing video games. I don't understand that. Just strings and strings of arguing. It's like, shouldn't y'all just be playing something? Who fucking cares about what's Xbox and what's on Xbox and what's on PlayStation and trying to knock it down and all this other shit? Why? What does that solve? It solves nothing. Now, for the last bit of news, and I said I talked about it a little bit in the beginning, and I want to address this. One of you sent me a message not too long ago saying how, you know, you're a huge fan of, you know, watching this. You feel as though I should be, you know, higher on the totem pole when it comes to subscribers, and I should be really up there with the big guys. And I've told you guys before, I can't make people watch me. Matter of fact, it's actually been the opposite as of late. Every time I make a video, subs, I lose subs. Go figure. I guess they don't like the truth. But I don't care. Like I said, subs are subs. I don't give a shit. You know, people come and they go. It happens. But people, the person that was messaging me is like, I've been watching you for years, and I know that you're against, you know, being paid to do this because you do it for fun. But anytime you felt as though you wanted to make a Patreon, I would clearly, you know, give money to it. And I put it like this. Like I said before, I don't like Patreon. I would not want to charge anybody for these videos because these are supposed to be for fun. Also, I care about the community, so I wouldn't try to take anything from you. Even though it seems a lot as of late that the community doesn't care about me, hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It just happens. You know, you stick your neck out sometimes, and people want to cut it off. You know? But here's the thing. I did have some people say to me that you should make a Patreon due to the fact that you can take the money from that Patreon and just put it into said charity that you always do every year. And while that does sound good, I don't want to be responsible for touching money. And because that, you know, for someone else's money, because we've seen other people try to do that before. You know, the money goes to them, and then they want to give it to the, you know, the charity. But then people come along and say, "You didn't give everything to the charity," and it becomes a big, controversy. And I try to avoid that as much as possible. About Patreon, I just don't know how I would want to go about that. I don't think I would. The only time I ask you guys and girls for money is to give to, you know, the Extra Life program. And because, like I said, I don't see the money, it goes right to the hospital. It goes right to those kids who need it, you know what I mean, who are sick or injured or whatever they're dealing with, what type of ailment. And that's the only thing I do. I do not ask for any money from you. You have to understand that the way these videos are now being done, almost, you know, you get one video a week and then another video another week, because I picked up a third job. So now I got 3 jobs. You know what I mean? And it's like, I gotta get money. You know what I mean? I can't sit and rely on somebody, like I said earlier, to pay my way to do these videos. I just can't. I don't see it. I just don't. And why people feel, I mean, and granted, I see, don't get me wrong, I see what other people are saying. There are worse YouTubers than you out there getting money, you know, getting thousands of dollars a month. And while it does sound good, I mean, because you look at the money and say, yeah, that's good money. At times, depending on the people, because you also have to understand, you're relying, depending on what type of content you make, you could be really, because you have to understand, certain content creators, if you look at your analytics, they hold different demographics, okay? And their demographics, a lot of them, you can look at the age ranges and stuff, and they're just a bunch of fucking kids, they're a bunch of fucking idiots, and so they'll gladly just give their money away. As you know, a fool and his money is soonly parted. But I would think that the company that I hold would be a bit smarter than that. You know what I mean? And would understand that I really wouldn't want to do something like that. I mean, like I said, it does sound somewhat tempting. It does. But I've been doing this for 7 years. I've been doing this for free for 7 years. I've never tried to monetize, really. And I just give you this for what it is. And people still aren't happy, to be honest. I've seen it. People still aren't happy with it. And I'm just like, guy, like, come on. I'm not being paid to do this. You know? I'm supposed to be doing this for fun and informing people, and, you know, this is what I like to do. And I just don't know. I just don't feel right taking money from people to do something that I simply is just doing just to have fun. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I need to think more about it. I don't know. But I personally, as you know, I'm usually against these type of things. So, anyways, but no, I thank you for the message because, to be honest, like I said, these previous couple of weeks have been just, I don't like event. I don't have to say, like, one of you got mad at me. Was it last time y'all got mad at me because in the comment section, I believe Kenshiro had put some timestamps in, and I didn't see it at first. And, you know, and people got mad at me because I didn't pin it right away. And it's like, I didn't fucking see it. And one of you came out and said, you know, he's a busy man. He'll get to it. Literally, I pinned it the next morning. The next morning the video was, I was just like, are you fucking, like, people got mad at me over it. Like, are you fucking serious? This is what you're getting fucking mad over me over now. In the comment section. Let me give you a news flash real quick, people in the comment section, for those who don't know. Yes, YouTube, just to let you know, YouTube has, you know, they're doing this whole 10,000, views thing. But understand Horizon, they've already let us know ahead of time, alright? In May, they're going to get rid of annotations. So anytime I mess up, I can't even try to correct it, alright, in annotations. Just to let you know that, alright? In May, they're doing that. Then afterwards, they're already talking about eliminating comment sections. Just to let you know that. Yeah. YouTube has scaled back so much now. Yeah. I'm just letting you know that, okay? So, God knows what they're going to do with the thumbing up and thumbing down. I don't know. I mean, I really don't care about that type of stuff anyway. But they're making some serious changes. Just letting you know that. All right. And Kishiro, I do appreciate that you do the timestamps. I do, because I don't have time to do it. All this time it takes to do things, like I said, plus 3 jobs now, I don't have time to do it. I don't. So if one of you get mad at me for not being able to pin it right away, seriously, I mean, I can really give you the Peter Moore right now. I really could, because you had some choice words to say about me. But you know what? That's all par for the course at this point. Like I said, I've been doing this for 7 years, and like I said, people still aren't fucking happy. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. But like I said, I do appreciate those who have sent me messages and told me things like that, and, and saying, hey, you're what you're doing is really great. I appreciate it. I do. Because, like I said, I'm hoping that like I said, these are the 2 goals that I have in every video. To start conversation, because I don't care if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me. I see a lot of people who get very upset. I don't agree with the event with this, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. The object is to, the mission is to spark conversation and hope that you learn something from it. That's it. I leave the rest up to your discretion. I put the links in the info bar so you can make up your own minds. Right? Okay. Everything to discretion. Bigger YouTubers don't even give you that shit. Yet they're praised more. Anyways, I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. Until next time, try to have fun. Don't take it so serious. Go play some games. Fuck the internet as far as I'm concerned when it comes to all this arguing over consoles or what game is better or what you like. Fuck all of it, man. Fuck it. It means nothing if you sit at home. Like I said, all that shit goes away when you're sitting there and you're playing your game by yourself and you're having fun. Or playing with friends and you're having fun. Because that's what this is about. Fun. I know it's a foreign concept these days. I will talk to you later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.